Excellent. All right. Everybody, welcome to today's interview. I have the special pleasure of introducing Sally Diamond. She has been in the health industry for over 30 years. She's worked with many healing modalities. She's got her own rehab clinic in Brisbane and has a beautiful family. I got introduced to her through another friend in the team, and she has been a massive health and wellness mentor for me over the last couple of months and been a massive support as we've moved up here for Brandon and I and the team. And she has just a massive toolbox of understanding and awareness on personalizing the healing process for people. And she's been helping people for many years and has integrated Healy as one of the many frequency devices she owns to actually support people's health. And she just has a massive vision to help people. She has a charity that gives back overseas and builds homes for homeless people. And she just has the biggest heart, and she's really here to add a lot of value to you guys. So please grab your piece of paper and pen and take some notes if you're really wanting to boost your product knowledge and belief, which will help you in so many different areas. Yeah, definitely stay tuned. So thanks for jumping on, Sally.
You're welcome. It's great to see all of you here today. A bit about my background. I was introduced to health and wellness back when I was in my early teens. I was a swimmer, and I love one of the Zoom links that you guys use ends in 1992. That's the year that I just missed the Olympics. I missed by 0.04 of a second. I was a swimmer, 50-meter swimmer, so I took one lap, one breath, and heartbreaking for me on many levels to miss an Australian team by that much, but led me into chronic fatigue and massive kind of fatigue issues, which led me into alternate medicine. And the story that I share of my life is really, I follow my inner guide, my inner voice, and I do some really crazy, weird things because I'm guided very strongly by intuition and just a strong voice in the back of my head. And so it led me into acupuncture when I was 17, 18. That was a long time ago now because I'm 46. And people would say to me, why are you studying acupuncture? And I'd say, because every city, every town, health funds will recognize acupuncture in the next 20 or so years. And I couldn't be more right. And so then the next journey really led me into having my own business. I did all the massage subjects, and then of course owned my own healing center for about 10 years and then got burnt out from that. It's a bit of a 10-year cycle I follow. And then I embarked on a world trip and pretty much sold everything and went traveling for 10 years. And in that 10 years, I often joke and say that I came back from 10 years with an American husband, 2 children, and a 40-foot container full of shit. So, but on that journey of 10 years, I got to work on the Women's Tennis Association. So I was the head therapist for Venus and Serena, Navratilova, all the female tennis players. And I spent 5 years pretty much in their suitcases traveling the world with them, which was an amazing journey. And also got to work on the #1 cruise ship in the world, sailing around on Crystal Symphony. And it was a really phenomenal experience. And so I got to live out some of my dreams in helping the #1 athlete become #1 in the world with Anna Kournikova. I helped her become #1 because I couldn't become #1 in my field of sport. I then chose to embrace that and help someone else. So I've always been on a journey of trying to help someone on their journey, whether it's in health or coaching them or mentoring them, and really just being their cheerleader in the background. So when all that kind of happened, I had my 2 children in the States, and so they're little Americans, but we moved back when they were both babies. So we've been back for 10 years, and there seems to be a 10-year pattern that happens in my life. And right when we moved back, I fell and hurt myself playing netball. My sister had introduced me to playing netball again, and I always said, I can't play netball because I always, I'm about to use my hands again. And of course, what you fear the most, you always get. And underneath that, there was a silver lining. And in that, of course, that one game of netball, I fell, I broke a small bone in my hand. The look on my sister's face pretty much said it all, like, oh my God, but I couldn't thank her enough now, because that's what really led me into frequency medicine. Because the very next day I had lunch with a friend who had been working for me years ago, and she had a device. And of course, she was begging me to pick the device up and use it on my hand. And that is my introduction into frequency medicine, really. I kind of said, no, I've got a 40-foot container landing on my driveway. I haven't got time to learn another thing. I'm just trying to get 2 babies and a house and get situated back in Australia. And so what led on from that was I started to play with this device. I then started to learn the device. It became a big part of my business. I started to teach everyone how to use that device. And I had a very strong vision from that moment that every home would have a healing device in it. And I always thought it was to do with that device. And so I learned everything I possibly could about that technology. I flew all over the world to the conferences and really understood what frequency was all about. I became the best massage therapist, acupuncturist in town to Sally's got this weird device and she waves it around and people are actually getting better. So it's not about maintaining someone, it's about actually fixing someone so I never have to see them again. I don't want to see people once a month or once a week. And people really honestly don't want to be getting treatment once a week or once a month. So I became that person that would then teach people how to use the device for their home and their family. But it comes with education and it comes with actually having to apply techniques and principles to your body, which of course no one's got time for. So fast forward and I've been introduced to many things over the years, and you heard Kingsley speak a few weeks ago, I think it was, and Kingsley's a dear friend of mine. And he was the one that introduced me to network marketing more than 20 years ago. And we ran around the world having amazing experiences and always been very, very close to my heart and taught me everything I know about the whole networking industry. And it was through Kingsley and the company that we were with back then that enabled me to sell that first business and go traveling to actually do all these amazing things in the world. And so when you actually follow that voice and you get given a little bit of information and you follow it with your heart and you know that it's right within your heart, it will always lead you to the right place. So I've always very much sat there as maybe the weird one, but with a very strong desire and passion, but also very guided and directed by knowing the bigger picture. So I know Zach and Brandon, brilliant leaders, taking you through the why process, taking you through all these amazing steps in their training. And when you can start with a why, that's the crux of everything. So I have 3 major mantras that I chant, and due to network marketing and the freedom that I've gained from being involved in this industry for 20 years, I was able to take most of last year off, 12 months, and I took the whole year off. I was traveling a lot, speaking a lot, and I got to hang out with my kids, and we've been to some amazing places together as a family. But in that year, I really recalibrated what I was looking for and became very, very clear on my next path and mission and vision. And one of the mantras that I chant is that I want to help heal 100,000 people globally, and that we are building houses and communities in Cambodia. So it's driving from a very high place. And when you've got the why, the how really just happens automatically. The universe takes care of that. So when Healy came into my space about a year ago, it was right when I was ejecting out of one-on-one, out of clinic, and really just taking time out for myself to just recalibrate. And I was on a 10-year kind of stint. I've been back now for 10 years. And of course the 10-year thing comes up again. And I really took a sabbatical for a year to just take some time off and focus on the family and myself and really just hang out at the beach. That's what I did for a year. And I've just had a 2-hour walk this morning, been for a swim. And so really, really ground yourself. But it was right at that moment that I came across Healy, and it was very, very new. And it was frequency. And I watched a flimsy video and I flicked it. And I just thought, you know what, I don't really have time for another thing. I'm involved in many things at the moment and I really just need space. And so I flicked it, and it came back with force about 5 months ago during COVID. And it came from my sister again. So I'm eternally grateful for another blessing that she gave me. And sometimes the blessings come in small packages, and you don't really know until you really delve into seeing a pattern. Yeah, it's a 10-year pattern, Brandon. And so anyway, so I was eternally grateful for my sister for showing me Healy, except she had one thing where she kept it a secret from me for about 3 weeks, and she was at home around the corner from my house playing with a Healy while I was on Zooms with 3 other people trying to understand some of the really technical questions that I had about frequency and where it came from that no one was really able to answer. And she was secretly sitting around the corner using her Healy. But lucky for me, I saw a change in her and a difference. And I went mad at her then and said, you're sitting around the corner. I'm trying to understand this thing and you've got one. So she came over. That was the kind of start of the Healy journey for me. And of course, I love everything about frequency. When I saw it, it really fits with a device in homes globally around the world, which was my vision 9 years ago. So I'm really excited to be a part of this movement as a therapist and a practitioner and sharing it with my clients, because they get treatment one-on-one with me and it's amazing the things that I can offer them, and I do. But when someone's chronically sick and they've got some really, really big issues to deal with, just seeing me for an hour a week is not enough. And so for me to be able to offer something that they can be doing at home for 2 to 3 hours a day, this is what people really need when they're in a chronic state, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual level, to really help recalibrate. I combine many things in my practice that I use with clients, and this is just one of them. I call it a pizza. And when someone's really sick, you need to have the pieces of the pizza in place to make the whole picture. And not just one thing works for everyone. They actually need they need the wheel. They need many different aspects depending on where they're whatever their pizza is missing. So I don't know if there's a really great person I'd like to introduce on the call. She's going to share a little bit of her story, because I know it's always the stories that make a difference in people's lives. And when you hear a story of something and how something's changed, that's really what grabs you. So when you're sharing Healy, it's really the power of your story and the story of how you got involved, what it's doing for you, how you incorporate it into your life or into your family, and the effect that it can have on that person that you're talking to. Very, very powerful. And Carolyn, are you here? I can't see you, but there's lots of people here. So Carolyn,
yeah, I've just joined, so.
Okay, here she is. So Carolyn is a dear friend of mine now, but a client of mine. And when she stumbled into my clinic, how many years ago? Several years ago.
About 5.
5 years ago. Carolyn was incredibly sick, and I actually sat there and thought, what am I going to do with this person? She's young. She's got an incredible story of being a cricketer, nearly an Australian cricketer, a cricketer selector. And yeah, I'm just going to let her share her story of frequency, just so that you understand the power of what we have in our hands. And over to you, Carolyn.
Thanks, Sal, and good morning, folks. I've got a rather unique story where about 5 years ago, I had a really successful career. I'd gone to uni, done that thing, been quite traditional, and joined the corporate world, and had got to sort of director level in a Big 4 consultancy firm in record time, and had just left to finally follow my passion, which was cricket. And Cricket Australia had hired me as a program manager to set up their project office, and we're in the middle of kicking off the first women's Big Bash League that Australia had launched. So this is about 5 years ago. And within a few weeks of taking on that role, my health declined rapidly, completely out of the blue. And within a couple of months, I was in full-time care. And my mum, who I was very grateful for, had just retired. And were it not for her, I really don't know what I would have done, because I was in and out of doctors' clinics trying to get to the bottom of what was happening to me. I had hundreds of symptoms that no one could explain. And fundamentally, the answer that came back was, you've got chronic fatigue. And that was the formal diagnosis. But the reality was far from that. And what eventually transpired was I found out that I had, or was suffering from, a multisystemic series of infections. It was affecting my entire body, and essentially my entire system was shutting down. Needless to say, on top of that, actually, I should mention, I was suffering from multiple chemical sensitivities. So I couldn't drive in cars, I could barely leave my house. If I did, I couldn't breathe, and I simply couldn't survive, which was a long way from where I'd come from. After a number of months in and out of doctors' clinics, I was told I wouldn't survive, and that it was simply not possible to recover from what I was suffering from. And they wished me well. And that was where it was left. Because I couldn't take drugs, I was really locked into a corner. On top of all of that, my body started to have allergic reactions to almost everything. And that was when I met Sal. So I had heard that certain frequency-based devices could potentially help me eat more foods. That was where I started. And I thought that was a pretty good place to start because I was down to eating about 4 or 5 different foods and that was it. Everything else made me sick or gave me an anaphylactic reaction. So I walked into Sal's clinic. It's probably about 4.5 years ago, to be fair. I was sick 5 years ago. I said to Sal, have you heard that what you do could help heal allergies? And she said, well, not really. I specialize in pain, but we'll give it a go. And we tried a few things, and that was when the world of frequency-based healing opened up to me. And a couple of years on from that, what I actually managed to do was with Sal and another dear friend of mine who is a kinesiologist and practices in the frequency space, was build a natural healing protocol to get me well and healthy. And what I can say is using a combination of frequency-based healing methods and a number of other tools that I've come across, I not only got back to being well, but for the last 2 years I've been a general manager of a statutory authority here in Australia, specialising in innovation and new tools and technologies to help businesses drive transformation and change. When I came across the Healy, I couldn't believe it. It was actually the very thing that I'd been after when I was at my sickest, but couldn't find. I used Rife-based technology when I was sick, but the Rife was big and bulky and it really only contained very few frequencies. You had to guess, there was no diagnostic function, and quite often it would just lead to herxing and would be a really uncomfortable experience. It also wasn't really possible to take it to a workplace or heal anywhere, anytime. You're sort of locked in either to your own home where you were attached to the device, or if you wanted to access the bigger and better bioresonance machines, you had to go and seek a practitioner's support. So when Sal mentioned the Healy to me a couple of months ago, I jumped on it because what you can do with this thing is incredible. And the power of the diagnostic in the resonance and the level of accuracy I've never seen before in 5 years of searching for frequency-based healing methods. And the ability to heal anytime, anywhere is extraordinary. And as a busy executive, you know, it's perfect for me. I can treat myself at home. I can treat myself in the office, even going for a walk in the morning. You know, you can just set it to run and know that it's doing amazing things for you. And you know, I'm living and walking proof that frequencies can really help you heal and achieve a better life. And indeed, in my case, get me back to living a life that I was told was impossible. So I will be forever grateful for frequency-based healing and in particular the Healy now, which I love. I've got it sitting here right beside me. I use it every day, 2 or 3 times a day, and on all sorts of different settings, and I wouldn't be without it now.
Awesome. And Carolyn and I just walked for 2 hours along the beach. So she's quit the job.
I'm free.
Yeah. She's been working 16, 17-hour days for 2 years, and I really was waiting for the crash, and Healy came right at the very end, which really kept her going to enable her to finish out that job and get on with Healy now.
Yep, indeed. The job program was a real feature for about 2 months for me after I bought it. So no surprises there.
What are some of your favorite frequencies, Caroline?
I love the protection programs, Zach, in particular. I think anyone who's suffered from a chronic illness would know all too well that energetically you're really drained, and anything you can do to boost that protection space is really important. And obviously, having suffered from allergies and intolerances, I love the bioenergetic balances and the meridians. I think they've worked really well for me, and I wouldn't be without them now.
Oh, thank you so much. Very powerful. We've all got our Healys on. Everyone, represent Healy. Whoop, whoop. So super grateful too. Thanks for sharing your story. Sally, I'd love to dive deeper into a few areas around health and wellness, if that's okay, and really extract some of this knowledge you have.
Sure, go for it.
Let's do it. So in terms of healing, and you know, you're talking about different pieces of the puzzle, and you're talking about wellness and things like this, and your vision of helping heal 100,000 homes. That it hit my heart. I was like, that is so, like, what that would do for the world. You know, I think setting that vision so high is is so important for everyone. And so, yeah, I want to know, like, what is your definition of health?
Health, well, health, if you were to say to Carolyn 5 years ago, what is health? Then she would probably say just being able to eat something, because she literally couldn't eat anything. But for me, health is, it's about being able to do the things you want to do with nothing and no obstacle in your way. So I don't want anything to hurt. I want to have the energy to do it. I want to have the ability to go and run around with my kids forever and chase them and hopefully always beat them, because I'm competitive, but it's getting a bit harder now because they're getting older. But health is shown in your eyes and your skin. And so when you're glowing, and you've got that light and brightness coming from your eyes, that's the window to your soul. So health, I really see in someone's eyes and in someone's skin. That's your two most outer parts of your body. And that's what, to me, that's what health is. So being able to do the things that you love when you love them without any obstacles.
Okay. I like it. I like it. And so in terms of, I want to really understand from your perspective, frequency therapy and like, how does it work on the body? But before we do that, I'd like to know, you're talking about these different pieces of puzzle, the puzzle piece or the pizza pie for health. And what are those pieces, and what are the biggest, like, why are people so unhealthy in today's day and age? Like, surely something's missing. I think most people are kind of just searching for all these answers from, there's sick people searching for answers from sick people. And I'm like, oh, what is going on? So what are these things that people are doing that you've seen are causing people's health to decrease over time?
Well, I think there's a number of areas that the medical system doesn't look at, and it comes from emotional. There's massive emotional trauma. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. I'm not something enough. I'm too fat, or I don't think I look the right, or I'm wearing a mask. Everyone's wearing all these masks, trying to hide who they are in fear of what someone might have said back in the day. So I think there's a lot of emotional baggage that people are carrying, a lot of necks, a lot of backs, all that stuff is just the heavy load of what you're actually carrying around in that emotional space. Then you've got the toxin, massive toxin overload that people have been exposed to. They don't really realize it. So exposure from pesticides, chemicals, even just being outside on the grass, if someone sprayed the grass with bare feet, you think you're doing the right thing grounding, except you're probably standing on some kind of weed and feed or poisons. Which is being absorbed through the soles of your feet. You don't realize it, but you've been exposed to some toxin, which then attaches to something. So you've got mold, you've got parasites, you've got viruses, you've got bacteria, all of these things. And I'm a big proponent of many things from Medical Medium and his protocols, pH 360. I'm a coach with pH 360. So we look at epigenetics, we look at all the different facets that people are doing, and it's timing. What time are people eating? What time are people sleeping? When are you pushing yourself during the day? When are you most productive? I was living all kind of backwards and wrong, and most swimmers are getting up really early, but they're on the pH 360 wheel, they're typed as a diplomat, and diplomats are supposed to sleep in and not be exerting themselves too much in the morning. Well, most swimmers end up fatigued and really, really sick because they're going against the natural physiology of their body. And so if everyone's trying to live the same diet, the same process, the same, it's only going to be one sixth of people are going to thrive on that. And so it's really about addressing all of these things, which in a 6-7 minute appointment at the doctor where they do a scan and take pretty pictures, it's not the answer. And so when you've got, I had a client come in, she had a suitcase with her, and I said, goodness, are you staying the night? What are you doing? You're staying the week? And she said, I'd love to stay the week at your house. And, but what she actually had in her suitcase was every picture, photograph, scan, report from every machine, every device that the medical system had of her body. And she threw it on, she just opened the bag and threw it all on my table, on my treatment table, and said, I don't care if you look at this or not, just fix me. She said, no one has ever touched me, but you've got every picture, every photograph from every angle, from every machine in the body. And you think, what's the point of all this data when they actually did nothing to help her body heal or find out what had caused her problems? So it's kind of fascinating when someone gets on that medical train and they're just going from pillar to post, but no one's actually actively doing something to fix them. And so, not that I'm any great healer or magician, I'm not. I'm really just highlighting to someone and shining a light on where they need to look to actually start the process of finding where they're fault or dysfunctional, how they can improve or be better. And I don't know if any of you have listened or read Carolyn McMacken's book, The Resonance Effect. If you're into frequencies and you really want an understanding of it, I've just had 6 meters of dirt dropped in my yard over the weekend. So I spent the entire weekend with a shovel in my hand, grounding in the best possible way with bare feet. My feet were black. And I had it on Audible and I listened to her entire book. So that's how long I've been in the yard. It's about an 8-hour book. And fascinating account on frequency medicine. And she's one of the ones, of course, that helped invent the Gold Cycle series. So I would really encourage you all to have a listen to that book, because it will give you a deeper understanding of frequencies and microcurrent and how powerful they really are. I was just sharing with Carolyn this morning that I'd run 3 toxin programs over the last 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And Saturday, while I was shoveling, I was completely nauseous, to the point where I was almost dry reaching in the yard and half vomiting, because it was a detox that was coming out of me. So you think that it's not powerful and you're not feeling it. It is very, very powerful. And you got to be careful when you start. I know that a few in my team have had some vomiting and experiences because they get excited and they want to run all these programs. They want to crank the percentage up. You don't need to turn it up. 30-35% is all you need, and you're not supposed to feel it. And so when you listen to Carolyn share it, she talks very much about not being able to feel it and the incredible effect that it's really having. Brandon's laughing. Less is definitely more. And if I'm out grounding and in nature, the best healing is our body and being in nature. The trouble is that we're off balance and not calibrated because of Wi-Fi, toxins, stress, emotions, all of these things. Healing comes in as that balance act that helps us regain homeostasis and balance and takes the interference away. And so then we're this perfect healing operating, which is our body, because your body is designed to heal and repair from everything. I've helped terminal people recover multiple organs, multiple problems, back to zero, doctors saying, what's wrong with you? And healing is helping the body actually do this. So it's helping the body stay in homeostasis. So just remember, we're not treating anything and we're not making any claims that it's curing anything. All we're doing is bringing resonance and vibration and harmony back into the body. And when the body is in harmony, then there is no disease.
So this is so interesting, and the vibes in the chat are awesome, guys. Love this high vibe energy. I want to know, so Sally, so someone's put a Healy on, right? They've connected to the wrists or the ears or the sticky pads. What's actually going on a cellular level? Like what's happening?
So when you put current into the body, what it's doing is putting that negative energy back into the cell. So if you were to look at those studies done that we share in our presentations that we do about cell voltage, it's about bringing that cell into that healthy range of -50 to -70 millivolts. Someone who's sick, they're climbing up into that more positive area, which is why people talk about that negative ion environment in nature at the beach, trying to increase your negative ions. That's what we're trying to do. So when I say when we're outside, we're grounded, we're not stressed, that's the Healy effect really right there. If you go to the beach for the day and you're out in the sun and you're in the salt water and you're burying yourself in the beach. I remember as a kid coming home, how do you feel? You're chilled, you're relaxed, you feel fulfilled, you've had a great day because you've just had a massive hit of negative ions by being in that negative ion space. When you plug a Healy in, you're essentially replicating that with the microcurrent going into your cell voltage to bring your cell voltage back into that negative voltage stage. So when you get someone to come in and you've got them decreasing back into that -50, -70, they're losing their aches and pains, they're recalibrating their mind, their spirit, their energy, and you're essentially just waking up the cell to become alive again. So if you break yourself all the way back down to nothing, we're made of subatomic particles and energy. If then you've got your cells and your molecules, and then you need nutrition and the building blocks that go with that, and then you have your treatment that comes on top of that. But if your battery's dead and you're running at a very low voltage, you can have the best treatment, the best nutrition, the best of everything coming in, which is what a lot of people are out there seeing a naturopath, seeing a homeopath, seeing all of these different therapists. But if they're completely dead and toxic and their cells are running on low voltage, they're actually not getting anywhere until you plug the charger in. I just was going to do this Zoom outside, and my computer had very little battery power, and I went, well, that's not going to work. How can I boom to all of you wherever you are in the world with a dead battery? I can't. It's a bit like me going out in the world there with a dead battery in my body and trying to beam my light and be this vibrant, healthy, energetic, healthy being. You can't do it with a dead battery. So plugging yourself into frequency and microcurrent is putting life into the battery on that cellular level.
This is so interesting. And so how can someone, I guess, make the most of the Healy? You know, they recommend 3 programs a day, a couple glasses of water, things like that. But are there any other habits people can also integrate to really accelerate what the Healy's already doing?
Yeah, I would really encourage you to use the gold cycle. Like Carolyn and I were just talking about this morning, saying we all want the resonance, but people that are actually really, really sick, they really only need, oops, talking about my battery, it's not even plugged in. Here we go. They really only need the gold for about 6 weeks, because you should be running gold cycle for 2 to 3 weeks only when you first get healing. They're very, very powerful frequencies. And then once that happens, it starts to clear. It's a bit like I often use the analogy of a house. If you go in to renovate a really disgusting house, which is how this house was when we moved back here 10 years ago, that's a whole nother story. But we had to literally from inside out gut this house. I couldn't walk into this house on that first day with brand new curtains and a new toilet and start to go, I want a nice vegetable garden, because at first I had to literally clean out the entire house and knock down walls. And I mean, it was hard work. And we flogged ourselves for years. And now people come over and go, you have the most beautiful house and garden and plants, and it's amazing. But it's taken 6 years to get our house into this state, thanks to network marketing, of course, and the income and the freedom and all of those things that came with it, so we could do it. But I mean, the house analogy story is perfect for someone who's sick, because it takes work. When someone's sick, you ask and see what Carolyn went through to actually heal. It's not like I waved a wand and the kinesiologist, you know, pounded on her arm and did some muscle testing. There's a lot of work that goes on from within. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that hard work that goes with anything, with building a network, with building their health, or renovating a home. So it's like, and that's where the Healy thing and the whole energetic thing comes into place. We're all connected. And if you can zoom out of the big down into the minute, and the way you act on every single minute level, and then zoom out, it's showing up in other areas of your life everywhere. So if you're putting the hard work in, starting something and finishing it, and it might be starting a book and finishing it, starting a renovation and finishing it, starting a project and finishing it, then you know that once you start completing things on that level, your health and your vision and your dreams are going to start and complete as well. So start to focus, if you're stuck and you're in a loop, on the little things in life, because it's the little, making a difference in the little that makes a difference in the big. And so often when I work with people, they're trying to go, I want to have a really, really big network, and how come I can't get people to say yes, and why aren't people? I zoom them right out into their little things in life and go, tell me what your house looks like. Tell me what your bedroom looks like. Tell me what this looks like. And as soon as you start to change the little things, it changes the big things. So stop focusing on, have a vision and a goal, and go back to the little things and start perfecting all of those things. And so, yeah, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. I love it.
It's powerful. Mic drop. that was gold. And I think that's so interlinked with what we're doing, the quantum, you know, health, wellness, business, relationships, it's all intertwined. I'd love to know, and I'm sure some of you might have some questions, so please jump in the chat and ask some questions. We can get them answered. But someone's asked, how do you describe, Sally, the difference between the microcurrent and the vibrate with the Healy? So for those of you who are brand new, the Healy has 2 apps. One app has the microcurrent that you connect, and the other app is the, how do you describe that? I still kind of, it's called vibrate, but from your understanding, how does that actually work?
Okay, so microcurrent is tapping the physical body, it's tapping the cells, it's tapping that battery. Vibrate is tapping everything else. So we're made of 10 bodies, spiritual, etherical, mental, emotional. I mean, you got several bodies and layers attached. That's our aura. So when we vibrate, we're actually tapping that. When we microcurrent, we're tapping physical. So really important to mix and both. One of my devices that I use on the body, and I move it along the body. I can use it in two different ways. I can drag it and it sticks, or I can use it with a diagnostic where I take numbers and let it automatically connect and it beeps when it's finished a cycle. It's the same with Healy. We have two amazing ways that we can tap the body, and we're not just tapping physical, because a lot of people's problems are in that chronic state and it's coming from an emotional past pattern or a program or a belief. The I'm not good enough is coming from when you were a child and your dad or your mum probably said to you, shut up, sit in the corner, you're better to be seen and not heard. And so you've carried that belief of I'm not allowed to speak. So guess what? Your throat chakra is probably very depressed. You're now in a workspace where you want to express something and say how you feel, but there's that underlying belief pattern that I'm meant to sit in the corner and be seen and not heard. So I don't speak up, which then leads to a myriad of things, right? So then that's sitting there in your space. It's not really sitting there. Sometimes it will manifest as a throat, thyroid, physical problem, which it will over a long period of time, but because that's a throat chakra thing. If any of you are into all the aura scans and stuff, I recommend you get a chart, something like this, because when you start to do scans on people and you can start to see their chakras and whatever's that's coming really low, this gives you a whole lot of information. I had a client, she had a very, very low root chakra. We were treating her sciatic, and I just pulled up the chart, and of course it comes up an unhealthy root chakra is alcohol, sex, compulsive, exercise, anger, right? It's all these addictive behaviors. She's an alcoholic. She's addicted to many things and she goes through massive rages. In fact, one treatment she came in so angry, I made her go out to the garage, put the boxing gloves on and made her bash me up with the gloves before we even started treating her, because she needed to get out this anger and frustration. There was no point in me lying her down and harmonizing all this that was just bubbling. You've got to get it out. So I'm a big Kundalini yoga fanatic, and all these extravagant ways that you can get energy and move energy, whether it's physically, with a Healy, with acupuncture, you need to get energy moving, because we're simply made of energy, and energy stuck somewhere is a disease or a problem. So you can get the chart. I would just Google chakra chart. This is one I got from, I don't even know where I got it, but yeah, Google chakra charts. You'll find out with tons of places to buy them.
I think that's really, really interesting. Yeah. Gosh, so many different areas to go down. And Brandon has a couple of questions for you too about some other components too, which we're really excited to ask. But in terms of the Healy, you know, a lot of how we've been sharing Healy the last couple of weeks has been through these remote sessions. And so sitting on a Zoom or sitting, you know, one person's in America, you're in Australia. How does that actually work? So can you describe or explain how does that distance remote aspect actually work?
Yeah, so inside the Healy, I don't know if some of you know, is the quantum sensor and the COSY ray mirror. I would say to research KOSRYEV, COSY. Let me just type that here in the, or Zach, you can type that. Do you know how to spell that? Let me just go here.
Oh, over to you, okay. Over to you. Sorry.
COSY ray mirror. There's a COSY ray mirror inside the Healy. And this is an old Russian technology. When you Google it and YouTube it, you'll be able to see. But this is what enables time travel, time and space. And so this is part of why we can remotely scan someone, and very, very accurately. I know when I'm not in a really great space and I'm busy or I'm distracted, the scan's not as good, because it's the power of, if you're a Reiki healer or any of those energy vibrational therapists, I've been kind of doing this thing for a long time, where I can think of someone, send them healing, send them a vibration, then this is how you're doing it. You think of someone and they call you, right? So I often play with the universe a lot. In fact, my whole Healy story is a bit of a laugh, because I was not looking for another thing to do. I can tell you honestly, my life is crazy busy and full of fun, and I live hard in many ways. I work hard, play hard, and when Healy came in, it fits with my business, and I had just come back to seeing clients. So of course, seeing clients, Healy fit in with seeing clients, and I really bought a Healy to treat myself, because everyone else gets my care and attention and devices on them. I very rarely get one of the devices on me, because I don't want to sit at my machines and perform yet another routine on my body that I've been doing on people's bodies all day. So Healy was to be a secret of mine. And I know I'm diverting here, but it became a joke. And when I met Zach, of course, I said to Zach, I haven't got time for this. I'm actually involved in many other things and I'm dedicated and committed to those things. And he said, it's okay. I said, I'm just buying it for myself, my family, and my clients. I said, but there is a few people I know will really get Healy, and I'm just going to put them in like puppets and let's just see how they dance. And it was really a tongue-in-cheek joke about when you build a network. I don't ever set out to build a network. I set out to help people heal and fulfill my ultimate goals and missions. And what I call a side effect is that the companies start paying me money for some of the things that I share. And so I don't do it because I'm making money. I do it because I find someone in need of what I have and I share it and I help them on their journey to heal and process. And so, you know, I often get caught in quandaries of doing too many things or sharing too much and talking too much, and then I go into burnout, which is usually every 10 years. I stop and I crash and I recalibrate, which of course this now fits, because guess what? I've been home in Australia for 10 years and now in comes Healy to add to all of these things. But I also know what's happening with Healy is the start of something massive that, like I said, I had a vision of 9 years ago. So we're on to, there's going to be lots of wearables, lots of devices, lots of these things that are coming out, like the Cozy Ray mirror. There's lots of beds, lots of treatments, lots of things that have been suppressed for a really, really long time that we're going to start to hear about, because you can change some of these chronic illnesses with this type of medicine. And Dr. Oz said it, medicine of the future will be energy and frequency medicine, because allopathic and Western medicine is not working anymore. And so I'm not degrading any of that. I still believe we need that as part of the pizza, but we need all these other things that come into the puzzle. So I'm a big proponent of all of those things. But as far as the remote scans go, it's when you're treating and you're connected into that realm of the person. So you intuitively will say, I connect to the higher powers of, as you're looking at them, or as you're looking at their photograph and you're connecting into their energetic field. So you really become part of them as you're sending the vibration and the frequency. And I think that that is way, way, way more powerful when you do it with that intention, because most of this healing is done with intent. I often use the American Sign Language, I love you, over a client. And when you do that over someone's aura and someone's space, it cleanses them, because love is the highest frequency, the highest power that you've got. You've got love or fear. Too many are living in the state of fear at the moment. So bring in that power and intention of love. And it's doing all of these things when you're remotely treating someone via the quantum sensor with the intention and then vibrating, always with their permission. You can't just go and randomly treat someone. That is very, very important. Must be with their intention, because it's about them receiving and you're giving, and that transmission that happens in that remote way with the quantum sensor. Just
to clarify on that, because that's really important. So are you asking the question of, do you give me permission, or how do you initiate that?
So often with a client, I'll say, I'm happy to send you healing and vibration this week. With your permission, I can do it every day for a minute or two. Do you consent? And they say, that would be amazing. I would love it. So you want to make sure, and then to take it one step further, you can say, every time I do it, it's going to be at X time during the day, every day, if you commit to that. Or you can say, I'm going to send it to you. I'm not going to tell you when I'm going to do it. Just know that it's happening. Or you can say, I'm going to text you a love heart every time I do it. So whatever it is that you're saying, communicate what it is and how you're going to do it, so that that's in their space and their field. So it's always about creating that intent. Like setting anything up, you set yourself up for success, not for failure. So set it up with an intention, with an outcome, with how you want it to actually look.
And so this is gold, and you know, I hope you guys are taking notes, and so many of you are grateful to be jumping on. This will be recorded and put into the group as well for the other team. But I want to know, Sally, you've mentioned a couple of golden rules on, you know, building a network. I know that you have a super successful other network marketing business, ASEA, and it goes hand in hand with what your vision is, and you have, yeah, just if it wasn't for that, I'm sure we wouldn't have met. You know, it's just through network marketing I've got to meet the most amazing people. And so in terms of that, I'd like to pass over to Brandon. I think he's got a couple of questions to ask you, but yeah, I'd love to know, I guess, kind of what you were mentioning around just helping people. You know, like people, I guess, overcomplicate this networking thing. And I remember you sharing some pieces of knowledge in the beginning, but when it comes to building a network, do you have any tips or strategies or secrets?
The secret is to just care for people, love people, spend time with people, and not push people. Because when you push them to want to do something, you're actually pushing them away. You want to be able to bring them close to you. So you're like the honey and the bees, right? You want to be the honey. You want to be the one that people are coming to you for information. So you don't want to be that nagging, irritating person that every time you see someone, you're going on and batting on about your product, because that's a sales pitch. It's more about caring for someone and being there for them in that subtle way. And so as far as building a team goes, it's really the way that Healy does it. I've never seen it in any other networking company I've ever been involved in, is the power of that find 3 and get a free one. I mean, that's my other tongue-in-cheek joke, is that I bought Healy as a secret till my sister said, sell 3 and you get a free one. And my husband in the background says, that's good, so ring 3 people because I want one. And so I literally went to the clothesline. I rang 3 people while I was hanging out the washing. My first friend said, yep, order me one. My second friend in San Francisco, I rang to say, I'm sending them to your place. Can you send them to me? She said, can you order me one? I'm like, well, that's 2. I haven't even got through my laundry yet. I rang a friend in New Zealand and she said, can you order me one? And I came in with the laundry basket and I said to my hubby, you've got a free Healy. And I think I've just earned 900 euros. I don't even know how that works. And he goes, can you ring 3 more people? So I rang Carolyn. And I rang like 3 more people as a joke. And that's kind of how it started. And I really just rang 3, told them the story, and I can't, it's like a side effect now that I can't stop. So I'm in the quandary of now I'm running 2 very separate, independent things that are very attached to my philosophy and my business. And I'm all about multiple streams of income and multiple ways to make a difference in someone's life. And not one way is the right way or the only way. So I'm sure 90% of you have a Thermomix on your counter. My vision and goal is that I've got 2. I've got the old one and I've got the new one. And so everyone is going to have a Healy, whether I tell you, you tell them, or someone else tells them. They are going to have a Healy. I guarantee it. Within the next 5 years, this is a device like a Thermomix that every home will have. And I'm excited that I get it and I understand it, but not everyone has got this yet. So don't try and push the people that are medically orientated, medically driven on that train of that they're doing their thing, because until they fall off the train, you can't stop the train and get them off. They're on a train, they're on a mission, they're on a path. You got it. One of the most painful things about being in this industry, whether you're a practitioner or just selling a product you know can help someone, is that you have to watch people train wreck before they come to you. And then they've got to have the guts to be able to come back to you and say, I think you're right, I need one of those things. Now, if you push and piss them off, they're not going to come back to you when they fall off the train. So you want to, it's very encouragingly supporting them on their journey of whatever it is that they're on. I don't know if that helps, but that's kind of how I do it. I'm not the network marketer that sits and rings, and I'm very heart driven in the way that I actually communicate with someone. It's because I've seen a need or I've seen that it can help and I want to just share it. I don't care what they do with the information from it, but I have to share it with them, what's helped me and what I use, in hope that they're going to listen and use it at some point. It mightn't be now, it might be in a year, and you have to be patient to wait for the mic to drop, for them to get it, for them to have that awakening. Time's going very fast at the moment. We're all speeding up. We're in the awakening. We're moving into that 5D. So people are aware, and Healy's part of all of that. Healy is going to start to open up. And I often say Healy's got the cool, it's a cool, like, it's cool, right? We got a cool gadget. We can hang off ourselves. People ask us what it is. We can sit at lunch. We can scan someone. They go, wow, how did you know that? And you go, because I'm psychic. I'm not really, I'm just tapped in, or whatever it is. You can, but the thing is they have, you know, they have that. And not everyone's coming into 5D. I agree. but the ones that aren't, we can't drag them in. That's my point, right? If they're on a train, and some people, that's their mission and purpose in life, is to be that one that's on the dark side, and that's okay. That's their journey and that's their path. Not if everyone was like me, what a boring world this would be. And well, maybe not, I don't know, be hard to keep up if everyone was running at my speed. So yeah, you just got to, I say I meet people where I'm at. Carolyn and I want to walk for 2 hours. Another friend and I won't walk for 2 hours because it's not her thing. So you got to meet someone where they're at and walk the speed they're walking.
Wow. Wow, Sally. Yeah. I'm taking heaps of notes, by the way. I hope everybody else is. My mind's going like a million miles an hour with what to ask you and how to extract it, because I know just how much you embody literally what the sales process is, because we have been ingraining into the culture that sales is just the process of helping people get what they want. But some people don't know what it is they want until they actually experience what you call the train wreck. So yeah, it's really powerful. I love everything that you've been sharing, and I guess getting people into that. I mean, you've been in the business for quite some time. I would love to know how you've been tying in, because you did make a mention of PH360, and I've seen you like literally look at people's body type and describe to a T what, you know, how they actually are, what type they are, and knowing how to actually interact with them, and bring all these different people together. As you've been, you know, scaling your culture within ASEA. And so I'd love to basically pick your brain in terms of how you brought these methodologies into, I guess, your business in terms of growing a culture, and how to manage people with where they're at and knowing their type as well. So the health aspect in terms of PH360, but, you know, also, yeah, bringing into the business of how you've been able to live this lifestyle.
Yeah. So when, I mean, there's so many facets to that question, but as far as
I know. It's just like,
as far as the business goes, when you can read someone and understand where they're at, remember, not everyone thinks like we do, because when I look at all these faces on the screen, I can see all the different types exactly right there. We're all different, and we're all driven by different needs, wants. And so you have to be able to, one of the beautiful things about PH360 is when I look at someone now and I treat them or I talk to them, I can know that they're not going to bite this immediately. So me pushing them and saying, there's a special that ends tomorrow, that's not going to be very good for certain people, but it is going to be amazing for certain people, because they're action orientated. They want it now. They want it fast. They don't care. They're just going to go like a bullet. But the ones that are reserved and the ones that are sitting back like me, I sit on things for 9 or 10 months. I'm not a fast processor. I've got to process it. I've got to study it. It's got to sit with me for a while. So for a year, I pretty much knew Healy was there in the background and I was processing it. When it came in, I knew that I have this problem, I call it a problem, that I sit and process something, and I knew that I had to act a little faster, but that's my number 2 driver, is that I do act and get into action quite fast. So I knew that that was sitting there, and I knew that I'd already been sitting on this for a while. So, and when you start to understand yourself, you then know the reasons why you're doing things. And when you get an understanding of other people, then when you talk to them, you can kind of figure out, okay, which is the best language to use and the best approach to use with these people. So, I mean, you can all go and study this. I mean, there's so many different, there's 16personalities.com. That's a really great one. You can go and do a free test on that and do an analysis on yourself and really dive into some of those things. PH360, of course, I love it. That tells you all about food and diet and all sorts of things. So you can get a type, there's Myers-Briggs, correct? There's lots of different cool tools. So part of being in, I'll call it sales, because there's some element to this that it is sales, right? We're selling something, is understanding the process and dealing with people and finding out what they want. Like Brandon said, I can rattle on about all the amazing things that I do with Healy, with my kids, until you realize the person you're talking to doesn't even have kids. So you've just wasted your time, right? If you've asked enough direct questions and got enough information about a person, then you can actually target what you've got to them. Otherwise, you're just rattling off a whole list of what it is, and that's no good. So yeah, like Brandon says, it's a sales process. And I was a pharmaceutical rep when I was in the UK for a very short period of time, which is great because I learnt what the dark side was really like and what goes on in all avenues of being a pharmaceutical rep into sitting in the doctor's office. So yeah, I mean, Mary, brought one to love and heal yourself first. When you do that, then you can start to go out and share it with other people. Does that help?
That's, yeah, way to take a complex question and make it simple. I think this is really the key. I love how you make things really simple. Has simplicity been something that you've taken into account just to get people to the next step? Like, how do you make things so simple, especially when it's got to do with health? It's so complex. Like, even just knowing, like, you've just shared with me some things that I didn't even know about the Healy. Like, you have a really good way of making things simple. And obviously, if you can make things simple in this business, you know, that's going to be very powerful for that of which you are helping people. So how do you make things simple for, just to close off before we jump off, how do you make things simple for your team?
So simple, I say keep it simple because everyone's stupid, including me, right? So if you treat someone like a 3-year-old, then you're on the right track. If you're talking to someone like they're an intelligent being that's complicated, you've lost them, because there's only a very small percentage of people that are actually in that realm. So it's treating someone very simplistically like they've got no time, because that's 90% of people. 90% of people have got no time. They've got no space in their life to learn another thing, and they don't want another thing dumped on them that they have to do. So you got to break all those 3 things down and send them a 2-minute video, or sit there with them and watch a 2-minute video, unless you live in Bali. I wish. It's in Bali in December. A 2-minute video, a quick conversation, and tag them on a post. The ATM method, brilliant. I've built all of my networking businesses that I've ever done is been very simple, very short, and it's about a story. Become a really good storyteller about yourself and about someone else. And it's the story that sells, and your care and concern for them, and get them to talk more than you're talking. Because the more you know about them, the more you can share about what you might have that might help them. That's the secret. Find out as much as you can about the other person, and don't be afraid to then share and open your mouth and share it. And if you've got some big influencers or people around you, get to your big influencers. What's the frog? Go and have your frogs.
Eat that frog.
And read books. I'm an Audible person because I'm always moving. In fact, I have to move now because I've just got 3 messages that my daughter's waiting to be picked up. But yeah, you have to be reading and putting good things into your brain, because if you're not putting good information into your brain, then it's just mush. Turn the news off, turn the fear off, turn all of that rubbish off, because all that you should be focusing on right now is you, your home, your family, your health, where you're at in time and space, because the world's not ending tomorrow, and you can't change a lot of what is going on in the world at the moment. So stop focusing on the fear and what's happening out there. You can't change it, but you can change what's happening. So if you're locked up in wherever in Melbourne or whatever, I'm really sorry, but spend the time learning, studying, doing something, so that when the doors open, you emerge like that beautiful butterfly that's about to fly out as a whole new person. You've been given a gift right now in lockup on some capacity to actually go within and change. That was me a year ago. I spent an entire year by choice dropping one of my major incomes, dropping everything to just stop, bury myself at the beach ground, because the voice was very strong to me a year ago that said, if you don't stop and recalibrate now, you're not going to be ready for what's coming. And I had no idea in the grand scheme of what that actually meant, but it meant all of this. So that when COVID hit, guess what I did? I re-emerged like that butterfly and flew in all the capacities of what everyone else was forced into doing. I voluntarily did it a year ago. I stopped and I went within and I locked myself up with the family and the kids, and we were traveling and we were speaking, we were having fun, but there were long periods of time where I was at home and I was just walking the beach and sitting there and using Kingsley's app. I mean, it was his app that really transformed my mind and my brain and brought me to these powerful mantras that I say now. So yeah, develop that
Wow.
higher picture of what you want and let the universe take care of the house.
Brilliant.
I am
Great way
gonna,
to close it. Great way to close it. Thank you so much, Sally. I know that you do have to run. So how about this, everybody? And we might just stay on the call as well, just to close things off if you need to run. But everybody, Zach, if you can just get everybody to unmute their mics and just send all the love to Sally. Give us a shout. Send all the love. Thank
There
you
we
so
go.
much.
Thanks, Sally.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Sally.
Sally.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sally.
You are amazing. Maybe we have to get you back more.
anytime. I love talking energy and medicine and frequency. It's my thing. That's what I've been doing forever. I've been waiting for the day that everyone got what I've been hiding in my house for 10 years. So I got all the devices. I got the bioresonance, the scanners, the physio keys, the beautiful friend sitting. She had spookies. I was in a spooky tent when I went to visit her 2 weeks ago. And yeah, fun. Really fun stuff coming. What was once weird is now cool. So embrace the weird and go out and heal. Because when you listen to Carolyn's book, when we go back to complicated, being healthy is not complicated. It's actually quite simple, and most things you need to do are free. Water, food, grounding, family, community, love, drop the fear, and hook yourself up to some high vibes, music, laughing, dancing, hugging. I mean, all that stuff's free, right? You just have to do it.
Oh,
Nice,
it's been
Sally.
amazing. Thanks so much, Sally.
Because
And
my daughter's not screaming love at the moment. She's, screaming to be picked up.
over and out. We'll hang out for a little bit longer for everyone else on the webinar. So I've got a few updates. Thank you, Sally.
Love you
So
guys.
much, Sally.
Look forward to meeting you all.
I'll come
Much
up.
love. See you soon.
Wow.
Awesome, guys. How about this? Everybody just post. I know there was so much there, but can we just appreciate how much gold there was? Put the gold in the comments. What was your number one gold tip out of today's session? What was your best thing? We want to see in the comments, and that's going to help you reintegrate all of the learnings in that. For me, what I loved about Sally is, and what she said, at the highest level, she's building people up. You can tell, even from the get-go, she got Carolyn to jump on and share her story. And it's an interview about her. What? so guys, success leaves clues. So let's see, what were the clues that you found? What's the goal? Put it in the comments. We'd love to see.
Love it. And oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was mine. What about yours, Zach?
Sorry, you just lagged out, bro. Say that again. We're getting internet this week at the house. So. All right, I'll read them out. Yeah, everyone just type them in. All of it, the analogies to share, that I'm no longer the only weird one, the house analogy, keeping it simple and share with love. Thank you, Sally. She goes, her passion for self-healing, building people up. What was once weird is now cool. Sharing, caring, healing, love, everything. Self-care first, then share the story. House analogies, absolute gold. Oh, listen to people. Allow them to talk. Don't sell. Give people a pizza. Not wanting ongoing clients, empowering clients to help themselves. Share your authentic story. You're on mute. Sorry, bro. I can unmute you. Oh, okay, yeah, you're on mute. Keeping it simple, your own story. Keep it simple. Host isn't allowed to. Oh, yeah. Reminded to do intention out loud and sending remote. Yeah, so getting their permission to do the remote scans. All of her healing journey was amazing. Her story is so awesome. Her way of making it simple. Find out how the healer can help the person. Yeah, before sharing it with them, say yes. What was yours? Okay, so mine. Oh my gosh, I really like the whole how the actual Healy works. So I'm going to go research more about what she mentioned, that little technical term. I took a photo of that. I'm going to do some more research on how the Healy actually works with that quantum sensor and that technical term, that machine from Russia. I was like, wow, that's really cool. So a couple of little updates, and this is the time, right, where you have this energy, this vibration, this, we're in the energy game. Use this energy for something, right? The one thing today, take action on it right now, whether it's a Facebook Live. A lot of you are setting yourself the challenge to go, hey, we're going to go live right now just to share your story or something about Healy or whatever it is. If you're on the fence about sharing, maybe do a post or go into the testimonial group and share your testimonial. Like, what is it for you that you're going to use this energy towards? Is it calling someone on your chicken list or someone on your list? You're like, oh, I shouldn't call them. Use this energy right now to catapult your day. We want to bring you up to speed, right? We're trying to do our best to train everybody. So in the chat right now, please save this link. Please save this link. Dramatic pause. I cannot recommend this enough. This is the Getting Started guide. It's the 3 steps to helping someone understand the product, the sharing component, and all the recorded trainings that we have, where to find these groups, trainings and things like that too. So that's the Getting Started guide. Please copy that into your notes. Please send it to the new people in your team. Please guide them through it. Don't just send it to them. Give them a call. Say, hey, have you gone through this step by step? It's setting everybody up. We want to give people not just 5-star customer service. We need to go to 6-star customer service. We want to go beyond, and it doesn't come from Healy right now. So it's all up to us. We all have that responsibility to look after everyone. And so please save that link there. We have tomorrow, 11 o'clock webinar jam. I'll put it in the chat right now. This is a link. Anyone right now can jump on. Brandon and I are going to do a webinar. It's going to be live. We're going to be sharing the story, the science, the testimonials, everything to do with Healy. It's great for brand new people. So if you have anyone in mind, please copy that link. That's a recurring Zoom link. And we always tell people to go back to the person that invited them. So it's all, we're here. We want to be the voice and knowledge for you right now while you get the hang of it. So please just leverage us, get them onto that call. If they can't make it, they get an email with the recording of the webinar. So even if they just register, they'll get a recording. That will only last for 24 hours. We then have the 1K group, everyone that's in our new accelerator. There's 222 people in this accelerator, okay? They've all applied. They're all fired up for sharing Healy, and we're taking them through step by step on how our process has been behind the scenes the last 8 months, and then integrating that into this training. So we will be hosting another accelerated group after this group. So if you want to be a part of that, talk to your sponsor, talk to your upline, and we can get you the application process in the next couple of weeks to then start that again. And then also this Friday, we also have another team call at 11 a.m. Sydney time. All our calls Monday to Friday are 11 a.m. And so we have Brandon and I going deep down with the business mindset, even just from last Friday's call. Lisa has had a massive breakthrough just from a 5 or 10 minute little chat with Brandon. Claire has had a massive breakthrough, and she enrolled like 15 people in the last couple of weeks. Like there's a shift that can happen. It's like a switch, and it's these calls on a Friday that really allow people to unlock and let go of those things that are holding them back. So please jump on. It is such a safe place and comfortable place for you, your team. This isn't just up to us to, I don't want to be the only one inviting to this. I know a lot of the leaders here, if you are a customer, the updates are in the group. If you're a builder and you want to transition into a leader, it's about promotion. It's about promoting these events, promoting these webinars, promoting what we're doing to build this team culture together. This is a rising tide can lift everyone up, but also a falling tide can lower everyone together. So if we all team up and all promote this together and all these webinars, you can imagine, if we all just invited 1 or 2 more people to these calls, this is going to double so quick. And so you have the power. We all have the power. Like, you can do it. I want to lift you up, right? What do you want to lift? So I'm just really excited. Did I miss anything, Brandon? Did I miss anything, anyone?
I just really want to emphasize that point. Like, seeing so many people step up as a byproduct of these trainings and getting, like, you don't have to figure it all out. Here's the thing, like, you don't. Like, and yes, I have pink hair. Alice, being different, that's another point. Be different. Don't be like everybody else. In network marketing, we're about duplication in terms of systems, but we're about diversification in terms of the team. And so many people in this community, you guys have gold within you. And so these calls are supposed to we want to insert our, you know, understand your reality, and so that we can help you shift it. And that's really, you know, the purpose of the Friday calls. That's the purpose of all of these calls, is to help you get connected to community. As you cannot spell community without unity, you know, unification within self to then unify the world. And so if you want to go and connect to the people out there, you know, you cannot connect with someone to the extent that you have yet to connect with yourself. And like we talked about, it's like this, the don't know that you don't know that's going to get you. And so, you know, that's really the value is we've, you know, Zach and I individually on our journey, and this is not to flex, this is just part of our journey. We've been on separate journeys, you know, side by side in parallel timelines, working on ourselves, like years, lots of time, effort and put into it. And now we want to give that to you guys and your team. You don't have to go out and do it yourself. You can learn while you earn, but let us lift your people up for you, but until you can lift them up yourself. That's all I have to say.
Amazing. Amazing.
I want to see 100 people on these calls. I want to see 150, you know?
The Friday call is the same link as well. So wherever you found the link for this, please save that into your notes. You know, the first thing I did when I started Healy, I was like, all right, there's all these videos, all these groups. I need to like put it in one spot. So whether that's a notes section on your phone, or some people are doing the keyboard replacements as well, that's just a great spot to keep all these links to be organized. Organization, you know, structure creates freedom. So that's really amazing, guys. Thank you all for your time. Have an amazing week, and super excited to see you in the next couple of days on all the amazing Healy adventures we're having. If you're new, you're brand new, welcome to the Healy Effect. You know, this is happening, and you guys are all leading the march. Seriously, we're all pioneers. We're all the early adopters. Like the whole world needs what we have, right? This is getting updated. There is an analysis update as well if anyone's finding it hard to log in. Just FYI. So please be patient. Please, you know, trust the process. It's not perfect, but it is going to be so worth it at the end of the day. So have an amazing week, everyone. I look forward to seeing you all a little bit later.
Much love. Thank you, guys.